How come you can't do that from right here? Why do you have to go back into your office?
Because I signed on there, so when I come here, I can't sign on again
Oh,
as,
okay.
so hopefully I'll be able to sign on here from this one. Okay, so
Yeah, and I'm trying to get into I need to be able to control the microphones.
in their.
Yeah. And so I just went into Zoom rooms, but it's not showing all those. So went there. Is there a different, I know there was a link that they created that they sent out. Isaac sent this link you could click on, and then it would list all the things out at the jail. Let's see if I can find that. These are all old.
Because I think you should go back to there and.
Go here?
Yeah, and then search, put in SHE. They put it under support team. So they put it because those are missing.
It won't let me click there. It shouldn't be in Superior Court. It would be out at the jail, but that's not listed here. So it's got our devices. But there was this link that he sent out. You don't have it? You never saw? Okay.
Not that I remember. Let's see. I set up the invite the foods.
Yeah, no, the booths are all there, but there's a way we can control the booths because there's that guy in 7 North. But I don't. Sort of surprised there's not someone in here.
Well, Ray was.
Special job has been probation. I think too long term. I think that they would work into it to spend the jail time. So we're like, I guess it was very, very close to 2 months.
Yes, if you're in there, I don't want to change the password if it's going to change you. So I don't know if it's the same thing.
So I may have gotten in. Let's see. So where's this guy? 7 North. And we're booth 1?
Yes.
Your Honor, I can't be sure because of the mask, but I think that's Mr. Mewborn.
Well, we'll find out in a minute. There. Hey, 7 North, can you hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are?
Newborn.
Fantastic. Well, good morning, Mr. Mewborn. We are up and rolling. I'm Judge McBurney. We've met before. And we are going to talk a little bit more about bond. I think this is the 3rd time we're having to talk about bond. I had asked I don't think asked is the right verb, but Ms. Ocam was to get to Mr. Moniz some discovery. And Mr. Moniz had indicated to my team that had not happened still. And I believe the way I had left it was that, well, then we need to reconvene to once again talk about bond, which is a little frustrating. We need to get some closure one way or the other. Ms. Ocam, what can you tell us about the discovery situation?
Your Honor, discovery was provided that day on May 7th. I don't know if you can hear me again. I wanted to apologize this morning. I woke up with a flat tire, so I was trying to fix that and it's not working. But I provided discovery to Mr. Munoz on the 7th. We were trying to get it from South Fulton Police Department. We were working on it. It just happened that the time he emailed is when we actually got everything, because as soon as he sent the email, I called him and told him that we finally had all of the information and which way did he want it. Did he want it by disc or did he want it sent to him? And we sent it to him. We were trying, I was working on it. A couple of people were actually working on it. My assistant, Mr. Sprinkle, we were just trying to get the information. And just because it was unindicted, we didn't have anything with us.
Right.
And we get it. And so I called Mr. Muniz then. I apologize, I didn't respond to the email, but I did call him and explain to him. And I asked him which one he wanted it. And I sent it to him that day. Well, not me, but my assistant did.
Okay. So Mr. Moniz, tell me update from your perspective.
Your Honor, the last time we were in court, the state said that they needed till the end of the following week to provide me some discovery, and we particularly talked about the video. And the state indicated that they would have Mr. Mewborn indicted by mid-May. So I asked the court not to rule on the motion that day, and he set it down for the end of May. To my knowledge, he has not been indicted. What I received in discovery was not the video. I actually got video of people reacting to the video. I can't see, I don't have the source video. I have a body cam footage that's obstructed watching the owner of the bar watch the video. And then I have cell phone video that I believe was taken by the owner of the bar, which pans in and out, but you can't see anything that matters. But I know it's on there because I hear them reacting to it. So what I've got, I have witness statements and witness names. So I do have something in discovery, and I do appreciate that. But I don't have the video, which I need. And the case has not been indicted. So I think we're not really much further along than we were in the beginning of April when we talked about this.
Ocam? Yes.
Yeah, if I may. Your Honor was the one who required us to get to him, and I said at the time that I would do my best to get it to him. We are obviously the case has not been indicted. I've been speaking to Mr. Sprinkle. I spoke to him again, in fact, yesterday evening, and unfortunately, the defendant was not indicted. There's a backlog, as Your Honor is aware. There are a lot of cases. I believe at last count it was 150 to 175 homicides that have not been indicted that need to get indicted. Mr. Sprinkle said they're doing their best, and now he moved it to June through no fault of the states, Your Honor. There was, as Your Honor is aware, we weren't indicting anything till March. And we just started, the office just started indicting again in March, and cases are just backlog, and they're trying their best. But at the time he gave it to me, he said it was not a hard and fast rule, as I explained to Your Honor the last time we were in court, that he believed that by the end of May would. It just unfortunately did not happen. Now he believes it's June.
We're talking past each other a little bit, though. What about this video that Mr. Moniz was talking about?
Your Honor, like I said, as it was an unindicted case, the state hasn't. We asked the detective to give us what he had, and we turned over everything that they gave to us. We didn't have time to, as Your Honor can imagine, we haven't looked at the video because it's an unindicted case and it's not. And we're trying to indict a multiple cases. Mr. Muniz this is the first time I'm hearing that Mr. Muniz didn't have the correct video that he wanted. This is the first time he's making that known. I did not have time to look over all of it because it's an unindicted case. Whatever they gave us is what we turned over. They gave it to us and we turned it over. As you can imagine, Your Honor, if it's an indicted case, then we have time to look through all of the discovery and make sure to see if we're missing things and make sure to go back to detectives and ask them to provide us certain things. But as it is, it's an unindicted case and we haven't had time to vet it because the time front asked him to give me what he had and I turned it over. Well, Mr.
Your Honor, this is the problem though. We don't have discovery because it's unindicted, but we can't indict it because we have too many unindicted cases. So you just sit there in jail for a year while your case gets old and you don't have access to discovery and you don't have rights. I mean, the system is set up to protect the rights of the accused and the process by which we, prosecute these cases. While I do have sympathy for the state and COVID was nobody's fault, it's certainly also not Mr. Mewborn's fault. And he's the one sitting in jail with no meaningful access to discovery. And the state can't have it both ways. Well, we can't indict because we're too backed up, but we can't get discovery because it's unindicted. Your Honor, I think at this point it's reasonable to grant him a bond.
It is, and I'm going to grant a bond. I'm going to set a bond. It may not be something Mr. Mewborn can make at this juncture, but we'll reconvene in a month. And if the state, I got a stack of indictments last week when I was presiding, and they were all sex offender registry cases. So people are looking at cases and they're prioritizing what's going to go to the grand jury and what's not. There are 2 grand juries, and they were generating indictments last week. And there was a high profile murder that was presented to the grand jury, and everything else was cases that didn't seem to be as old and don't have folks sitting there with no bond. So I can't make the district attorney's office prioritize how it's going to do it. It's 100% their call. I appreciate that there's a backlog. They need to figure out how to prioritize. They may want to focus on the squeakiest wheel. That's not apparently what they've been doing. So I'm going to set a $300,000 bond for Mr. Mewborn. We will put this on another bond hearing calendar in a month. And if Mr. Mewborn has been unable to make the bond that I set and the state has not indicted or provided the missing video, we'll need to lower that bond because someone who is presumed innocent is sitting in jail while the state dithers.
You're on.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
May I be excused?
Yes, you may.
Thank you.
So I found you sent a while ago let me unpin this. Hold on, remove spotlight. You sent a while ago a fancy click here and then there are all these links. I was just trying to get to Isaac's page, but I got to it. And I think this is all I need to be able to control them. Is that right? Yeah, but I mean, this gets me into each booth so I can mute, unmute, all that kind of stuff. Okay, I couldn't find this. That's why we reached out. Okay, it may be, and I'll make sure it is by the time I'm done today. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate it. So far, it's working great. All right. I think up next is Mr. Bridges' case, but let's see which booth has someone in it. I don't know how we're supposed to find. Well, but he was Mewborn was supposed to be 3 South and he was 7 North. And there's nothing listed for Williams. It just says warrant. Is he in jail?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. There's someone in 2 South there.
Your Honor, could I ask who is handling the probation revocation on this case?
I don't know, Ms. Hall, position 2. Excuse me, Ms. Hall. Who's handling position 2 for the state?
That is Ms. McCauley, and she,
I literally just got the phone with her. She's in presiding right now. She's gonna click off.
yes, there she is, she just don't.
Okay. Ms. McCauley, are you handling the Williams revocation?
Yes, Your Honor, I am. And it's my understanding, so the officer's not available this morning, but it was my understanding that this hearing was to determine whether or not we needed a formal hearing.
What we need is Mr. Williams. I'm not understanding from the jail side what's happening here because I don't see folks in there. Do you have a contact out at the jail? Okay.
I can, what it, you're.
Like I don't know where anyone is. We found Mr. Mewborn. So now in theory it should be Williams, but I don't know where.
They're having a similar issue in presiding, Judge.
Your Honor,
Yes.
this is Robert Summerall with the state as well. I just wanted to ask what was the total again on Mr. Viewborn's bond?
300,000.
300,000.
Hey, Roderick.
It's in 5 minutes, so.
Um,
In 5 in 1 booth.
I don't know how to, oh, there's 5N. There's nothing there. So we need a contact at the jail who's helping. Okay. But they knew. Yeah. Right. There's no follow-up from that.
There's nothing else on here.
It's okay. It's not a petition even.
Exactly.
So this, Ms. McCauley, are you still there?
I'm here. I'm just talking to Mr. Bridges.
So Larry Sanderson, are you handling that?
No, I don't believe so. Let me see.
That's who?
And he withdrew his motion for bond.
Is that the one with Kaplan Shaw?
Yes.
Taking off the calendar? Yeah, he withdrew his motion.
Okay. Yeah.
He's taking off.
News to me. Thank you. All right. Got it. Mr. Franklin, are you handling Jarvin Wallace?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, once we can get someone in one of these booths, we'll get rolling. We're working on that. This is a work in progress.
Your Honor, on Mr. Williams,
Yes, sir.
I think me and the state have come to a resolution on that case. We're just going to ask that it be reset to a further date after July. I think she said 28. Is that correct, Lauren?
Yeah, that's correct, Judge. And just to kind of give you a roadmap of what we're doing is I presented Mr. Bridges with a global for both the probation violation and then the pending sex offender registry case. To do a global resolution on both cases, I would need to get that registry case accused, and then also part of the sentence that we've agreed to would hold him until July. So.
Okay. So if we reset this for early August, everyone should have what they need.
As close to July 28th as we possibly could be would be the best.
Okay. It doesn't roll quite like that, as I'm sure you know, but we will aim for as close to July 28th as possible. Mr. Bridges, I don't know exactly what the jail's doing right now. If they produce Mr. Williams, I'm happy to give him that announcement if you need to go. But it sounds like all we'll be telling Mr. Williams is you'll be in touch with him. It sounds like he'll resolve both his cases, the revocation and the new case, and we'll see him in early August. Is that a fair?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, great.
All right, thank you. That concludes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, sir.
Have a good day. Thank you, Lauren.
Later, I'll see you.
How you doing, Judge McBurney?
Hey, Officer Clemson, how are you?
All right. We are presently relocating to a different floor, but we do have one on 6 North ready to go.
6 North is fantastic. I will find that one. Don't leave me yet. Let me look and see if I can find 6 North. Whoops, that's not helpful. 6 North, there it is. Okay, we'll get rolling with 6 North, and you'll let me know what's next.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, Judge, they are calling me back in Glanville. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hey, in 6 North, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Sure can.
And you are?
I'm Larry Sanderson.
Hey, Mr. Sanderson, I'm Judge McBurney. I don't know if we've met before.
No, sir.
Okay, well, it's nice to meet you. Slightly strange circumstances, but I appreciate you being flexible with us. I was just discussing your case with one of the prosecutors here. Nothing about the facts or allegations. I just was trying to figure out what we're doing with your case because it's not indicted. And it was on long ago in front of my predecessor to talk about bond. And what I was told is that Mr. Shaw, you know who Mr. Shaw is?
Yes, sir.
Is your lawyer. Mr. Shaw had withdrawn his motion. And so we're having your case move forward. Ms. Hall, do you have any other information about Mr. Sanderson's situation?
No, Your Honor.
What's next for Mr. Sanderson? I guess he should talk to his lawyer. Okay. So, Mr. Sanderson, I'm sorry to have dragged you out of whatever you were doing. You were supposed to be on this calendar to talk about bond, but your lawyer has stepped back from that. I don't know why. I don't want to speak for him. So you should reach out to him. But he did talk with the prosecutor to explain what was going on. And it may be, and I'm only speculating, please don't give this any more weight than just the words you're hearing. It may be that he's negotiating something with the state. Hopefully you're in the loop on that, but either way, you'll want to connect with Mr. Shaw to talk about next steps, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, I appreciate your time. Do you have any procedural questions for me? I don't want to talk about your case. Your lawyer's not on this call. But do you have any procedural questions?
No, sir, not at this time. I just will go ahead and try to reach out to him and see what we need to do next or what's going to happen. And
Fantastic.
hopefully we can move forward from there.
Sounds like a good plan. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Ma'am,
Bye-bye. You may.
I got the 88 wrong on the case. That was Ms. McCollum's case. That's why I looked confused because she was here and she left.
So it's not Parrish?
No, that's why she was aware that the motion had been withdrawn. So
Okay.
it is her case. I apologize.
Okay,
I have to get used to the new emissions.
you do. Because when we say Patel, hope she's doing well, but that's not helpful. And it seems like some of her cases go in one direction and some go in another.
It was my initial on that time ago.
So we've got Mr. Wallace, that's Mr. Franklin. We have Madrid. That's your case, Mr. Kessler. How you doing?
Pretty good. We'll try to resolve that this morning. It's great to take a plea this morning.
Okay, but no reason we can't, other than we need your client.
If I could talk to him in private, is that possible, or how does that work?
Let me look. The way it would need to work is you would need to dial in on your own device, and I'd move you and that booth into a breakout room. So we can do that. And we'll have an opportunity to do it in a little bit. We have to take a break at 10. I thought we'd get through all this, but we've had a couple hiccups. And I saw Officer Clemson show up for a minute. What's next, Officer Clemson?
I'm waiting on them to pop in the booth now, Judge.
Okay,
I'm not sure which floors they going to. I'm actually in Union City, but I'm monitoring while doing the other court.
Got it.
Okay.
So we have the misfortune of going at the same time as Glanville. Tuesday is unlucky because Glanville is having to do some Zoom thing also. I don't understand why this is.
I guess that doesn't mean.
He's presiding this week. So he's got that bond calendar. Isn't that Tuesday morning? Yeah. So that could be it. I don't know, because Macaulay had to disappear there. So Madrid will be a plea. And then Mr. Webb, how are you doing?
Fine, Judge. How are you?
I'm well. It's good to see you.
Good to see you again.
What are we doing with Mr. Hillard as far as you know? Whoa, he's not going to show up. He's in Ohio?
No, he's there at the jail.
Oh, okay. All right. It says on here that he's in Lake Erie Correctional Institute in Ohio. I guess that's an old comment.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, we'll welcome him back to Georgia. Is this an arraignment, Mr. Webb, or we're just going to figure out, and we'll wait till he's in one of these rooms. We just need to figure out what the next step is in the case.
Okay.
I'm asking you, do you know if he's been?
I'm sorry. No, this will be an arraignment for him for this particular indictment because the state null-pros the other indictment. He hasn't been arraigned on this indictment.
Okay. Yep. Yep. There's someone. All right, hold on a sec. 5 North.
Judge, we have 5 North now.
Got it. Thank you so much. We are going live there right now. Hello, 5 North. Who do we have in 5 North?
Theodore Williams.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Williams, how you doing?
I'm making it.
So, Mr. Williams, I'm Judge McBurney, and I had a good conversation with your lawyer, Mr. Bridges, as well as the prosecutor who's handling your 2 matters. You've got 2 things going on. You've got new charges and you've got this probation revocation. And Mr. Bridges has asked that we get you back either here in court or on a screen like this towards the end of July, because at that point, I guess whatever people have been working out, you will have served a little more time on a potential revocation and you'll be able to resolve everything, assuming that's what you want to do. You're not committed to anything until you and Mr. Bridges talk more, but he spent the time while we were waiting for you negotiating with the prosecutor. And I have been asked to tell you that we will reconvene towards the end of July or just thereafter. And Mr. Bridges, your lawyer, is hopeful at that point the state will be willing to resolve both the revocation, your old case, and the sex offender registry allegation that I think got you back in jail. I can't really answer questions about, wait a minute, they got the wrong guy, or why is it going to take so long? Not my role, and we'd want to have your lawyer here anyway to discuss that. But he was on the call while we were waiting for you to get into your booth there, and he and the prosecutor sorted this out. So I am providing that update to you, okay?
May I say something?
Well, you shouldn't say anything about your case other than you could say you're unhappy, but you don't talk about the facts of your case because there's a prosecutor listening in and you don't have your lawyer in the mix here. So I'm mostly pushing information at you, and you really shouldn't send any information back, okay?
I wanted to ask about the revocation.
So today we were going to talk about the revocation, but it sounds like part of the basis for the revocation is new charges. And your lawyer is trying to wrap it all up into one so that you don't just have to deal with revocation and then have new charges. It would be, let's resolve both at the same time. And that's what's going to take a little more time. So you ought to reach out to Mr. Bridges. That's the right guy to talk to. But I know we'll see you again in a few weeks because we need to sort all this out, okay?
So what is the revocation about the failure to register?
That's my understanding, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, to tell you the truth, Judge McBurney.
You know what? You should stop now, though, because your lawyer's not in the mix. I just wanted to give you those deadlines and the schedule, and you reach out to Mr. Bridges, okay?
The Bridges number.
Anyone have Mr. Bridges' number? I'll look it up. Hold on a sec. Do you have a way of writing it down, or are you just going to memorize it?
No, sir, I don't have anything to write with.
Okay. Well, you know what? We'll let Mr. Bridges know that you did show up and that he needs to reach out to you, okay?
Judge McBurney, I would really like to talk to you, Judge McBurney, please.
So we'll get Mr. Bridges to connect with you, all right?
I was thinking all this would be handled today, Judge McBurney.
Well, that's not how it played out. Apparently, the new charges, the state wasn't prepared to sort that out today. And you got to talk with Mr. Bridges about that, all right? We'll see you soon, Mr. Williams. All right. Ms. Hall, do you know if we're going to need an interpreter for Mr. Kesser's client's plea?
I don't know.
Okay. No, he'll be back in. This afternoon, do you have a sense of what motions we're going forward on? There's statements, identification, evidence. I mean, it's the usual whole waterfront.
I spoke with the sheriff in the Woodland Court alone.
All of them. Okay, so you have the witnesses you need? Okay. And Mr. Norris has an unindicted murder? Okay.
I have
Sure, that'd be great.
2060-194-161.
194161. Thank you.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Can you show me how you did those send?
The what?
How you got them? What was the link that they sent you?
I'll forward you the email, but I've just added it to my favorites. So I'll just email it to you right now, and then you can add it to your favorites. But do you see how this works? So once I see, let's say that someone shows up in 4 South, then I'll go over here to, so that's north. I got to go to south. I'll click on that. And then those are the controllers for 1, 2, and 3. We're always 1. So I open it, and now I can unmute. I could turn off the camera.
Okay.
You could share if you need to, all that kind of stuff. You can turn the volume up or down. So it's pretty slick. This is what I was trying to find through where I thought we had got, So that was a mystery to me, but maybe it's because it's out at the jail, but this is how you do it. So I'll send you that link. And then if you just add it to your favorites, it just comes up. So if now I go to that link, which I just labeled jail Zoom rooms, click, and
Okay, cool.
it just defaults you into 1 North, but there you are.
Okay, cool.
Right. Oh, we got someone. 4 North. Good morning. Who do we have in 4 North?
Jordan Wallace.
Hey, Mr. Wallace, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm okay. I'm Judge McBurney, and we've got Mr. Franklin here who just waved at you. You see that hand?
Well.
Let me see how we can do this. Let's remove the spotlight. Why don't you talk? You see him now?
Yes, sir.
Great. All right. And we've got a prosecutor in here as well. And we're just figuring out what's going on with your case. You got picked up on a failure to appear warrant. We are going to just talk a little bit about next steps. I don't think you've been arraigned on this case. But let me start with Mr. Franklin. Why don't you let us know, please, Mr. Franklin, where you think we are?
An arraignment will not be necessary. A discussion about next steps will not be necessary. The state is going to know about the case.
Well, let's confirm that. Ms. Hall?
Yes, Your Honor, that's Deputy McCollum. She said she was for the court with that no consultation.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at the order. All right. So, Mr. Wallace, good news for you. The state has moved to dismiss all the charges in your case. I will sign that order today. If you are not released tomorrow, you need to reach out to Mr. Franklin. How's he going to reach out to you?
We've not yet met. I honestly wasn't sure that he was in custody. So I'll just monitor it on the computer.
Okay.
And if I see he's not out by tomorrow afternoon, I'll reach out to the court.
Sure. So Mr. Franklin's going to do what I would ask him to do, which is just make sure you do get released, Mr. Wallace. So he will check by tomorrow afternoon. If you're still showing at the jail, he'll let me know, and we'll call the right folks to make sure they're processing the order that I'm signing today that says no more charges, no more holds for Mr. Wallace. In connection with this arson case, I don't know what else has been going on in your life. I assume there are no other holds. If the only reason why you're in jail right now is this case, then you ought to get out today or tomorrow, okay?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Any questions?
No, sir.
All right. Well, good luck with everything.
Thank you.
just curious, why would the Department of Juvenile Justice be, is he a juvenile?
He was at the time when this happened.
Okay. Got it.
That's what he's trying to set up fire, something inside of.
Okay, but this statement about misconduct, it says Department of Juvenile Justice. It relates to something that happened when he was under 17. Got it. Okay. Thanks. Mr. Kessler, is your client going to need an interpreter? Okay. We seem to be going in some order now, so I think Mr. Madrid may be next. Don't go far. What we're going to do, just because of the timing here, is I'll get, assuming I can, I'll get you and Mr. Madrid into a breakout room so you can talk. That's where I'm going to take my break. That I need to take at 10, and then I'll get back in here. We only have Hillard after that, which is Mr. Webb. And it may be that they bring Hillard first. And we'll react accordingly. Those are both yours, Ms. Hall? Okay.
Your Honor, that concludes my business for the day. May I be excused?
Please.
Thank you much.
I don't think I'll see you before Memorial Day. Have a good long weekend.
You do the same, sir.
You too.
All right, 4 South has an occupant. Let me scramble over there. Mr. Madrid, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm Judge McBurney. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Good morning.
Good morning. Your lawyer, Mr. Kessler, is here in court, and he tells me that it's possible we'll be resolving your case today, but he wants to be able to speak to you privately. So I'm gonna, Mr. Kessler, if you wave your hand, he may be able to see you. The side of your, there you go. He wants to be able to speak with you privately, which I think we can set up. And then when you guys are done, we will see what the next step is. Is that all right by you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Mr. Kessler, do you have all the meeting information so you can dial in, or do you need that?
Dial in with a phone, in Zoom or phone?
Zoom, but you need the Zoom meeting information. Do you need it? Okay.
I have Zoom on my iPad. Change it.
Mr. Webb, I don't know if you can hear me. If you want to rejoin us at 10:30, you're welcome to just stay on and multitask, but we're not going to be able to get to Mr. Hillard until 10:30 at the earliest.
Thank you, Judge.
Sure, but promise you'll come back.
I'll be here. I won't leave.
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
All right.
You let me know, Mr. Kessler, when you're in? Okay. I guess I'll know because you'll show up. It's funny how different the floors are. Your calendar has cells and I think nothing, just because they move people around. They're wherever. You did it just right. It's just people move. And so I think we'll need to institute a system whereby they say 4 South, because they have this. So they should be able to say next 4 South Madrid. And so we'll know where to look. So I was looking 2 South. It's not where he is. They can bring it if they want to bring him to 9 South. That's fine. It's helpful if they let us know that. Right. Shay and I will discuss. You got about a minute before I need to go, so let's try to connect. You're in. Excellent. All right, why don't you cruise into the jury room? I just muted you. That's so you don't get weird feedback. You can unmute in the jury room. All right. So what I'm going to do, Mr. Kessler and Mr. Madrid, is move the 2 of you into a breakout room. Once you're in there, you can speak freely. We can't hear you. It's not being recorded, anything like that. So it's as if you're in a conference room together. Take your time because I need to get on another Zoom matter that'll last a little bit. When you're done, you can leave the breakout room. You may get stuck in the breakout room, Mr. Madrid, but I'll get you out when it's time. It may be that I have to remove you from the breakout room. Don't panic about that if you get stuck there. Just stay where you're seated, okay?
Sir, appreciate it.
All right, let's see if we can make this work. Oh, I don't know how we. Move him. I forgot we can't move him because he has to accept something. So Mr. Kessler is gone, but Mr. Madrid is.
Maybe Mr. Madrid
he can't touch the screen. It's on the other side of the glass. But I thought I could do it from the controls. Let's see. No.
So we need a deputy to.
I guess so. I'm just seeing there's yeah, I don't think I have the ability to move it. Maybe I can. Let's see. No. I'm gonna close the room and you can just hit the button, leave it. Yeah, leave now. You don't want to mute your phone. Well, I got to go get on this other call. But if you don't mind asking Adejuan or the team if they know how to do it, I think it may require a deputy going to the other side. Do you know how to put people in breakout rooms? Okay. All right. Well, I can do it I'll get off my call briefly and come out and do it if they say they figure out how to do that. We'll also see if there's a way Mr. Madrid can get on a phone instead, but we're going to be stuck for a little bit.
I can hear you.
I'll just say I apologize. I listened to someone. Okay.
morning, Judge McBurney. Are you currently on the bench?
No, Ray, I'm in the courtroom.
Can I go ahead and proceed with the podium?
Yes.
All right, thank you. You got another microphone open in the courtroom somewhere. That's why we're getting this feedback.
Okay.
Yo, did they finish with yourself?
No, they try to put me in the break room, but they said I can't touch the computer right there. So
You
come
can't
talk
touch
to my
it.
lawyer.
You can't touch it. You gotta do it.
They said they can't do it.
It's your reason.
They said just hold on.
Huh?
It's your reason.
We're trying to do it.
Yeah, man. So like, you get a phone, just go get you a phone.
She's one of those.
The judge was trying to put me in the breakout room.
It'll take
with
me
my
about
lawyer,
5
but
minutes,
he
man.
said, not able to.
You still there, Ray?
Yes, I'm still here.
Which one is your turn?
It's my turn right there on the bottom.
Robinson?
Bottom of the iPhone.
Oh, iPhone.
So the judge was trying to put me in the breakout room with him, but he couldn't do it from the computer.
Okay.
So what he gotta do from his computer.
Okay. I'll stand by.
You say?
All right, Ms. Nelson, you should be able to do a breakout room at this point.
Okay, now you're gonna have to walk me through that. I see that on my computer doesn't have mute.
Do you have your microphone and everything? It's not muted at your station?
When I went to my station, there wasn't, when I sign on mine, I can't get off. You know what? I'm gonna just turn mine off. Hold on a second.
If you could, can you actually call me on the phone, 22765, and then we can walk through this?
Okay.
Sure. You know how to do breakout rooms?
Okay, Ray. Wonder if it's his mic.
Somebody other than the podium is the court reporter. I'm not sure whether she's there in the courtroom or not, but she's not muted.
Court reporter's not?
No. Yes, ma'am. All right, now the court reporter, she's there actually in the courtroom, right? Oh, she's not? Oh, okay. Who the heck is not muted?
Yeah. Yeah. Say, oh.
My lawyer told me to get a breakout room with me, but they need a controller from this computer from the breakout room.
So what?
They're trying to make my lawyer trying to get a breakout room. The judge was trying to do that, but they said they gotta do from this computer. So put me in the breakout room. It's way down the judge.
The attorney might want to talk to you on the phone.
On the phone?
So I'm gonna get that done.
What phone? Because the judge last thing he will come back, and he's gonna go do something. With another case.
Another case?
Yeah. I think so, you know what I'm saying? He will come back shouldering. He said something like that.
They can't access it. You've been here all this time. And you can't, for some reason, it's not working. I saw it, we could get that, oh, we're standing there with him, so he could talk to the party. The best thing I can think of right now, you just sit there. Yeah, he was on there talking, it was all.
Just going there.
Then his attorney wanted to do a breakout. But the breakout room is not working on their side. So my suggestion is just have them go downstairs, go to the attorney on the phone, and then go back to the regular court seat.
Who's on there now? I mean, who's on there now that we can talk to?
My lawyer.
Your lawyer's on there?
Any way to get him to a phone?
What's your attorney's name?
Jason Kessler.
Who?
Jason Kessler.
Mr. Kessie?
Yes.
Kessler?
Kessler.
Kessler?
Yes.
You got an echo. You might have two computers on or something. You might want to mute the other one.
Yeah, I'm putting on video, but it said the host disabled my something.
Okay, Mr. Kessler, I know that you want to do a breakout room with your client, correct?
Yes, you cannot start your video because the host disabled you.
Okay, we're not the host. I mean, all we could do is put your client inside the booth and y'all do your purposes. One second.
You're not disabled.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Kessler.
Yes.
You're gonna write this number down for me.
Okay.
Okay. How long is it gonna take for you to talk to your client on the phone? We're trying
Not
to just.
long. Not long.
Okay. It's gonna be 404-613. What's the last four digits? What's the last four digits, Delty?
I think if I could talk 613 voices, the number would be there. So I'm just about to.
You heard me, Mr. Kessler, 404-613-2305.
Deputy.
Give us about 1 minute to get downstairs and call that number. Or you can call right now. Come on.
What is the number? One more time.
404.
404-613. I can, it's
2305.
Say it one more time, Deputy.
You heard it? 2305 is the last four. So. You got it? Cool.
We still waiting for the phone call so you can speak with your client.
Yeah.
So you can accept all this? Can accept all this? I see. Nobody came back to you yet?
Yeah, I'm a lawyer right there. My mom. I think that's my mom,
Don't
right?
talk about anybody else. Like
No, the judge said
attorney, DAs, anybody came back there
yeah,
yet?
my attorney right there. Over there, I'm on the other way on the right side, in the corner on top. I'm just waiting on the judge.
What? Who? Oh, they're probably one of your attorneys over there, man. Now, this is where the whole time frame should come in because you got to fucking work on. Now, 11 o'clock. Can you just get like, maybe just things of. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Madrid, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, sorry for the delay. Did you get a chance to speak with Mr. Kessler?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are we ready to go forward?
Yes, our client does want to resolve the case today, Judge. Yes.
Okay, well, let's get all this on the record then. This is position 4, it's 19 SC 169838, State versus Madrid. Mr. Madrid is in the booth in 4 South. His attorney, Mr. Kessler, is here in court, along with Ms. Hall, the prosecutor. Mr. Madrid, I need to make sure you're okay proceeding where you are. You have a right to be in court here with your lawyer, but you can waive that right if you are willing to proceed remotely. Are you willing to do that?
I'm good.
You're good. Okay, so you're willing. You can turn the screen a little bit so it captures you. It should rotate. There you go. Make sure. So, Mr. Madrid, you're good with proceeding out at the jail with your lawyer here. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If at any time during the conversation we're about to have, you need to speak with him privately, let me know. It's now not going to be such a big production. I can get you into that breakout room. You actually were in a breakout room for about 10 seconds, about a minute ago. So we can get you guys speaking privately if you need it. It's also important that you let me know, Mr. Madrid, if at any point you can't hear us or someone's saying something you don't understand. Start waving your hands or just interrupt us, because you need to know and understand what it is we're talking about, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Hall, the prosecutor, is going to put you under oath in just a moment. Once you're under oath, you'll need to answer all of her questions and mine truthfully and completely. You able to do that?
Yes, sir.
Great. Ms. Hall, when you're ready.
Thank you. Mr. Madrid, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you should give in the matter currently before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
You may lower your hand. Please state your true, correct, and legal name.
Madrid.
Are you at this time taking or under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine?
No, ma'am.
Is there any medication that you normally take that you have not been given today?
I just started taking my medication. They just started giving me my medication. I came from Rogers and they had taken me back a week so I could get my medication.
So you are getting it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Took that medication today?
No, ma'am.
Not taking that medication, will it affect your ability to understand what's going on today?
I take it in the morning because I came out late.
I understand, but because you didn't take it, do you think you can still understand what's going on?
I understand, ma'am.
Okay. How old are you and how far have you gone in school?
I'm 19 and got to the 11th grade, ma'am.
Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you've been charged with 1 count of burglary in the 1st degree?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to that charge? And if you plead not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had enough time to speak with your attorney about all the facts and circumstances known to you regarding the charges in this indictment, including any potential defenses?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you need more time to discuss this case with your attorney?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with? I'm sorry?
Yes, ma'am. I'm satisfied.
You're satisfied with his services? Counsel, do you waive formal reading of the indictment?
We do.
Do you waive any and all defects in the indictment, including with respect to the defendant's name?
Yes.
Do you waive moving forward on a copy of the indictment?
Yes.
Mr. Madrid, have you been arrested on these charges?
Yes, ma'am. I did 3 months down here for the 1st degree burglary. They gave me a signature bond. Kyle picked me up. I did 3 months down there. They gave me 10 years, 2 years. Go down the road. I did a whole year in Jackson, 6 months at Rogers, and they picked Fulton County picked me up for a FTA.
Okay, I asked that question because the state is unaware of any outstanding
Nothing other than this case and the Cobb case.
that you guys are aware of.
Exactly.
Thank you. Mr. Madrid, are you aware that of the minimum and maximum of the sentence that you're pleading to? Of the 1 to 20 year minimum and maximum to the burglary in the 1st degree?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that this is a negotiated plea of guilty, which means the state will recommend to the court a sentence of 5 years to serve 18 months, credit for time served, balance on probation, but the court does not have to accept that recommendation. The court can sentence you to the maximum on this charge, which is 20 years. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that this plea may be used to enhance sentencing on other convictions in this jurisdiction as well as other jurisdictions, including the federal courts?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you're currently on probation or parole, your probation or parole may be revoked based on you entering a guilty plea today?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're placed on probation of any kind, you cannot violate any criminal laws of any governmental unit or any special conditions of probation without being subject to revocation for the balance of the sentence?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you're not allowed to possess or use a firearm while on probation?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're not a United States citizen, a guilty plea conviction will affect your immigration status and will result in deportation, just as a conviction at trial would? And this is true regardless of any advice by your attorney or anyone else.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you waive any and all defenses, including any mental health defenses, by entering a plea of guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you went to trial, you would have the right to a trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and confront witnesses called to testify against you, and the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up the following rights: the right to a trial by jury, the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself, the right to confront witnesses against you, the right to the assistance of counsel hired by you or to court-appointed counsel, the right to the presumption of innocence, the right to testify on your own behalf and to present other evidence, the right to subpoena witnesses and compel the production of evidence, the right to have the charges against you proved beyond a reasonable doubt, and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges after a trial?
Yes, ma'am.
Has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter a guilty plea today?
No, ma'am.
Is it your decision to waive these rights and enter a guilty plea because you're in fact guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
In indictment number 19-SC-169838, how do you plead to the single charge of burglary in the first degree?
Guilty.
Is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with full knowledge of the charge against you?
What you say, ma'am?
Are you giving this plea voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you only have a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you only have 30 days from today to file an appeal and 4 years from today to file a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness of this guilty plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Your Honor, the state is aware of one prior adult conviction by the defendant. It is a burglary in the second degree. That was a conviction out of Cobb County back in 2019. I believe it was about 3 months before this incident occurred. He was sentenced to 5 to serve 6 months in that case. Then he picked up this charge, and if this case had proceeded to trial, the state would have expected the evidence to show that on June the 19th, 2019, at 4721 Washington Road, that's in Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County, officers were dispatched to that location after the owner of that rental property arrived. He saw people on the inside of that home. He walked towards his car to call the police, and when he did that, he could see that his entire side window was removed, at which point he called the police. The police arrived, and they were able to detain 3 individuals, which they didn't specify as to which individual were arrested in the backyard of that property, and then 1 individual was coming out the front door of that property, and he was also arrested. Of the 4 individuals, 3 were juveniles, and Mr. Madrid was the only adult. Nothing was taken, and I'm not aware of any restitution that is being requested for the window.
Okay, that was going to be one of my questions.
And also, because of this case, he was revoked in Cobb County for 2 years, and that was, well, I think they changed his sentence completely, and they changed it to 10 years with credit from the day that he was arrested, which was April the 30th of 2019, and they sentenced him to 2 years of confinement. So
that makes sense, because Ms. Crawford's information is that Mr. Madrid has 7 years and 11 months left of probation on the Cobb case. So maybe he had first offender or something.
That he did.
And they took that away, resentenced, and 10-2. Okay.
And the reason why I added probation to our case was to have him on probation in Fulton County, since he has these two similar charges.
Got it.
That is all from the state, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Kessler, what do you want to tell me about your client in this situation?
I want to make sure that his 18 months credit for time served, released on time served, correct?
Well, those are two different things. What I heard, and it may be non-negotiated, I don't know. What I heard Ms. Hall say is credit for time served, and we can look at the math. It sounds like your client's been in for a while. If the intention was that he ought to get out in the next day or two, then we either need to be sure he's done 18 months or it needs to be reduced to time served, or the time that he is being sentenced to in confinement needs to more closely fit the time he's been in confinement.
And Your Honor, it's my understanding that he's done 2 years, and that's why the 18 months just to.
Is less than 2.
Right.
But 2 years in state prison, not in Fulton.
So has Mr. Madrid been out of, I don't know when he was arrested in this case, June 19th. Has he been out of jail since June 19th?
He's been in state prison. He was arrested on this case. Cobb revoked him. Probation violation, did 2 years in state prison, failure to appear here, but he was in prison and then brought here.
But he has been in continuous custody since June 19th of 2019.
Of state prison, yes.
I'm hearing you on that, but so we're clear, he has not been free to go where he wants since June 19th.
Exactly.
Okay. Then I believe if we give him credit for time served from June 19th, 2019, he'll be released today or tomorrow.
Do you think so?
If not,
it was another jail.
My experience is that the custodian, which would be the sheriff in this situation, goes by the credit for time served date that we provide, and we'll be providing June 19th. Okay. But I'll tell you this, if you are contacted by Mr. Madrid or his mother 2 days from now, and he's still in, we'll figure out why that is. And if the answer is, well, for this case or Fulton time, he's only done 2 months and you said 18 months, then I'll amend the sentence.
Sounds good. As long as they count the state prison time, that's fine.
Okay.
Sounds good. Okay.
Okay. There may be a hold on him, a detainer.
I understand that. I was going to say that also, Judge. I made it clear to my client that you and I had nothing to do with ICE holds, and that they're going to make that decision. So we'll see what happens with that. You're right.
Okay. But I guess we'll need to be clear. If Mr. Madrid calls you in 3 days saying, I'm still in jail.
He may be waiting for ICE.
Right. Yeah. And we can learn that fact by contacting the jail. They'll tell us, well, no, he's still got 12 months to serve. We need to fix it, versus we're done with him and we've contacted ICE. They've got 48 hours to get him. If they don't, we're going to release him. Exactly. That latter scenario, I think, will have accomplished what was negotiated, and to which I have no objection.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. More you want to add about Mr. Madrid?
No, he's clear, Judge. If he doesn't get out, he knows he has to stay out of trouble and complete the requirements, and his mom is here. I was going to say one more thing. He's going to be in Cobb probation until 2029. I know the prosecutor also recommended probation in Fulton. Would you agree to take away the Fulton probation, being that he's going to be in Cobb probation for so long?
So it won't serve much of a function, but I'm going to keep it in place. He does not pay 2 supervision fees.
Okay.
He will be supervised in his county of residence. So if home is in Cobb, he'll just report to a Cobb officer. And long before his Cobb sentence is done, this one will end. And so it's effectively invisible for him. But I think it's appropriate given the... Hold on one second. Let me mute that booth. Done. Sorry. 4 North was giving us some noise. I don't think he's going to know it's there, but that provides some protection, I guess might be a word for it. If for some reason Cobb said, we're closing the case out, which would be their prerogative, this case wouldn't be closed out and there'd be a little more probation for someone who in the span of a couple months got involved with 2 burglaries.
Understand.
But he's also served 2 years. I think hopefully the lesson has been learned. So, all right, Mr. Madrid, have you been able to hear everything that was going on?
Yes, sir.
Tell me what you take medication for.
I take medication for ADHD, anxiety. I take Boozbar and Remeron.
Okay. And that helps you focus and helps you not feel too stressed.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you told Ms. Hall you did not get it this morning because they moved you late. Are you doing okay right now?
I'm doing fine, sir.
Okay. Mr. Madrid, you understand that this guilty plea that I'm prepared to accept may have an effect, an impact on your ability to stay in the United States.
Yes, sir.
And that nothing Mr. Kessler has said or done can necessarily protect you from whatever impact that may be.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're going to be done in a few minutes with your case. You'll have some probation, but you may be held a while longer while Immigration and Customs Enforcement decides what it's going to do. They may do nothing, and you may get released. They may come get you and move you to another facility. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And understanding that, you still want to go forward?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we can do that. Mr. Madrid, I find there's a factual basis for your plea. I also find that your plea is knowing and voluntary. Knowing means that you've understood all the things we talked about, and if you didn't, you let us know that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And voluntary just means no one's forcing you to enter this plea. You may not be real excited about it, but no one is saying you better do it or we're going to do something bad to your family or nothing like that is happening, is there?
No, sir.
Okay, then I'm going to accept your plea. I'm sentencing you pursuant to what's called the Probation Options Management Act. And what that means is that while you're on probation, which you will be for a few years on the Fulton case, if you have a minor violation, maybe you miss a meeting with probation or something like that, you and probation will work through that. You don't have to come back and see me. If it's more serious, if you get arrested for something new, that's the kind of thing where you'll come back into court, okay?
Okay.
So I am going to sentence you to the only count in your indictment to 5 years to serve 18 months with a balance on probation. And I'm going to give you credit for the time you've been in custody all the way back to June 19th, 2019, which is almost 2 years ago. More importantly, it's more than 18 months ago. So you ought to, in the next day or two, be released either to the street or to ICE custody. And then they'll do whatever's next. And Mr. Kessler can give you his sense of what ICE is doing these days. I hear that it's very different than what they were doing, say, 6 months to a year ago.
You're right about that, Judge.
Because of changes up in Washington. Mr. Kessler, Ms. Hall may have already asked this, but you waive any issues from proceeding off a copy of the indictment?
Yes.
Mr. Madrid, if you were here in court, you would be signing your indictment indicating your plea of guilty, but you're out there at the jail and I'm here in court. Do you authorize me to sign the indictment on your behalf, Mr. Madrid?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Kessler, can I sign for you?
That's fine.
And Ms. Hall? I will do that and we'll get that stuff filed today. Mr. Madrid, normally a probation officer would be on this call to give you reporting instructions. When you get out, will you be living in Cobb County?
Yes, sir.
So you're going to need to figure out how to report to probation in Cobb County. Mr. Kessler can help you with that, but there's an address you're going to need to go to saying, hey, it's Mr. Madrid. I'm here and I'm ready to do what you need me to do on probation. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Kessler, anything else on behalf of your client?
Everything's clear. Everything's clear.
Ms. Hall? All right, Mr. Madrid, good luck.
I appreciate it. You have a good rest of the day.
You too. Thanks for your patience.
You're welcome.
All right, Your Honor, we're going to 2 South to be our last one.
2 South it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
2 South. There's 2 South. All right. Mr. Webb, you still with us?
I am, Judge.
You're very patient. Some things never change. I am told that Mr. Hillard is working his way to the 2 South booth.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Hey, good morning. Are you Mr. Hillard?
Oh, yes.
Hey, Mr. Hillard, I'm Judge McBurney. We've got your attorney, Mr. Webb, on the screen. You should be able to see him. Whoops, he just disappeared. He was on the screen. He'll be back. There he is. There's Mr. Webb. He just waved. We've got Ms. Hall, the prosecutor, on the screen. And we've got you out at Fulton County Jail, having arrived, I don't know how recently, from a correctional institute in Ohio. So welcome back to Georgia. Mr. Hillard, you've been indicted in 17 SC 152402, along with an Anthony Lloyd, who's pled guilty, and a Ms. Israelova, who has pled guilty. And it is time for us to start moving your case along. I believe, and Mr. Webb's going to correct me on this if I'm wrong, we're really at the outset of the process because you've been out of pocket for a few years. And today is the day you're either formally arraigned, which means I read to you all the charges, or Mr. Webb waives arraignment on your behalf, in which case we can get rolling with a scheduling order and make sure we make some progress on the case. Mr. Webb, what are we doing this morning with Mr. Hillard?
Your Honor, we are going to waive the arraignment, enter a plea of not guilty to the charges.
Okay. We have an arraignment waiver form that I think I'll have Ms. Nelson email to you that you could fill out, Mr. Webb. That way we can get it e-filed and it will be a document of record. That'll be helpful so we know the arraignment occurred. Mr. Hillard waived the arraignment. What's going to happen next, Mr. Hillard, is that I'll enter a scheduling order that will list the deadline for Ms. Hall, the prosecutor, to get to Mr. Webb all the discovery in this case. That way, Mr. Webb can sit down with you to talk about what the state has and doesn't have in terms of evidence. These are some serious charges. It doesn't mean it's a strong case for the state. It doesn't mean it's a weak case. It just means that's what you're charged with. I did note that the two co-defendants have already pled. Once Mr. Webb and you have had a chance to look at all the state's evidence, Mr. Webb will have an opportunity to file motions, and there'll be a deadline for that. It may be, and I don't know, I'm making this up, that the police got a statement from you, and Mr. Webb may look at how they got that statement and conclude that it was improperly obtained. You weren't advised of your rights, or you were threatened, or who knows what. Then he'll file a motion and we'll have a hearing on whether that statement ought to come in if there's a trial in your case. Once we've worked through all the motions, if there are any, then we can put this case on a trial calendar, and that's the end of the road. Is either we do a trial, or you and Mr. Webb decide this is a case you ought to work out, and Mr. Webb tries to negotiate some kind of resolution with Ms. Hall, the prosecutor. So that's where we are in the process. Do you have any procedural questions? We should not talk about the substance of the case. That's for you and Mr. Webb, but you've been away for a while, and I wanted to give you that overview of where we are.
Okay.
No questions?
No, I have no questions.
Okay. Well, Mr. Webb will connect with you, let you know what's coming. He's going to want to look at the discovery, and then I'm sure he'll set up a time to go over it with you. Mr. Webb, anything else for Mr. Hillard?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Hall, anything else for the state? Any sense as to how, I assume discovery must be pretty accessible if two defendants are already through the process. Fantastic. All right. That's what we'll do. Thank you, everyone. Mr. Webb, thank you again for your patience.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Take care. Oh, so Mr. Webb, be on the lookout for an email from Ms. Nelson. It'll have that form. You fill it out. Just get it back to her and we'll e-file it. Okay?
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
All right.